Oh man, all right. So I think we're gonna get started a little bit early, just to make sure everything's working okay. So we do have a couple people in the chat, so that's good. Please let me know if there's any audio issues. If I sound terrible, I'm gonna adjust my dB here because I think I'm hitting the red a little bit. Boop, boop, boop. All right. Let me get. You know what? I have to get Rimworld on here. Get that little bit of background on there. The Rimworld soundtrack is like a little country kind of like, I don't know, space country. if that's an actual thing, I don't know. You know, I got to manage all of these all of this social media stuff. All right, so the whole idea here is to just create a video real quick on some of the stuff that I probably wouldn't be able to play in class simply because I don't have 23 copies of the game or whatever. You know what I mean? It was good enough that we got 20 some copies of PC Building Simulator 2. But I can't do that with every game, and a lot of these games are like, you know, 40, 50, 60 bucks, so that would put me out of business pretty quick. So yeah, so I'm just gonna go over just a few like top tier games, just see, you know, so you can show you what it's about. Rimworld, we're gonna do Rimworld. We're gonna do Darkest Dungeon. Probably gonna do Oxygen Not Included. Let's see, some other stuff probably that we haven't really messed with, and then you know, that should help with the we'll keep the videos on YouTube, and then make them accessible through Google Classroom, and then you guys can check them out later on if you forget stuff, or if you need to reference anything, or you know, whatever. All right, let me close this out. See, it's gonna keep ducking my Rimworld because I can't get it out of full screen. Because if I don't get it out of full screen, or if I take it out of full screen, it will try to go on my other monitor, and that's messing me up. And I can't get it to stop going on my second monitor, launching on there. No matter what I do, it doesn't. It's a mess. All right, looks like we should be good. I'm gonna double check the stream real quick, and then we'll get started. Test. Test. Okay. Test. Hopefully that's not repeating too much. Okay. All right. Good stuff. All right, cool, man. So let's get started. All right, so Rimworld is interesting. One of the cool things about Rimworld is that the whole thing is powered by like an AI that handles like multiple things. Like the challenge in this game is very, very specific, and it's very like it hits you from different angles. I'll show you. I'll kind of show you what I mean here. So you can choose a scenario, or you can create your own scenario. There's like custom scenario options. I'm just gonna pick the basic one. All right, this will tell you what it starts with. This will tell you what's on the map and how many people you start with, and then, you know, whether they're new arrivals or not. I do have a few mods on this. The amount of mods in Rimworld are actually kind of nuts. Like there's a ton of mods. So, you know, I put in like maybe like 3 or 4, nothing huge. I'll point it out. If it's a mod, I will point it out. All right, so you can basically have 3 storytellers. So this is the AI that kind of comes at you. You have Cassandra Classic, who's just like normal. This is your standard kind of stuff. Phoebe is kind of like a little slower, so you get more room in between big events. And Randy is insane. So Randy is just completely random. It makes no sense based on like what you're doing or where you're at. Randy will just throw anything at you at any point. Absolutely crazy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put on Cassandra Classic, because again, we want to try to get the classic kind of experience. I'm going to put it on Adventure Story. All right, so it's not peaceful, right? Which is no hostilities. It's not kind of Builder, which is kind of a little bit of an easy mode. It's a little bit above that. But you can get into some crazy stuff and really losing his fun and blood and dust are insane. So we're also going to put it on reload anytime mode. There is like an Iron Man mode here, which is what I usually use. But we're going to put it on reload anytime just because, you know, again, this is just a demonstration. We're not trying to beat the game or anything. Anomaly settings is part of the DLC. So there's 5, I believe there's 5 DLCs. I have all of the DLCs on right now. And Anomaly is just part of that. So we're going to keep those settings like they are. We're going to hit next. All right, so this is going to be the create the world part. So we are going to create a big planet. I'm going to use just a random seed. Let's call it Jersey. I always set the globe coverage to 100%. It tells you it's going to be a long time to generate, but I've never really experienced that. It's always been pretty quick. You can adjust the biome, the amount of pollution, all that kind of stuff, and then all the factions that pop up. Some of these guys are good. Some of these guys are terrible. There's a lot of differences in between all of these. So, you know, you can add more of what you want. Like if you wanted more kind of good, decent guys, you can put like more gentle tribes or more Outlander unions. If you wanted it to be tougher, put more wasters in there, put more pirates, put cannibal pirate gangs in there and stuff. You can absolutely do that too as well. And so we're gonna hit generate. Here's the 6 core, like the 5 DLC in the core. And then these are the very few mods, like I said, that I put in. So 7 mods is honestly pretty low for this game. You could really put in some massive amounts of mods on this. So all right. So here is the world. All right, so it generated an entire globe of hexes. Okay, you've got it works very similar to Earth. You got, you know, your polar ice caps up here. You got some sort of wasteland. What do they call it? Polar wastes, kind of. Down here, and then you get into like the evergreen trees, the boreal biome, and then it goes into sort of more of a warmer biome as you get to the equator, and then it repeats, right? And then you've got generated oceans, rivers, things like that. You've got generated ruins. You got generated roads, and then they plaster all of your factions all across the globe here. So the idea is, you know, where do you want to kind of start out? Like what are you looking for when you're playing a game of Rimworld? And there's gonna be a few different factors. So what I like to do is I like to get an area that will grow crops year round, or at least close to year round, right? So if I go here, let's do just a random hex here. It'll give us all the information on the thing, okay? So it's a tropical rainforest, which, you know, cool, but maybe not the best area. It'll tell you the stone types. We'll get into stone types later. But here's our growing period. Our growing period is year round. So that's nice. Then this is the problem with tropical rainforest. Our average disease frequency is almost 2 per year. And in this game, disease is pretty rough, man. And like the flu will kill you. Like it'll absolutely wreck not only you, but it'll mess up your whole colony. So you have to be careful. So the flu, the Black Plague, what else? There's a bunch of different ones. So, you know, so really what we're trying to do is find a year-round growing period, but also maybe find a disease frequency that is less. And if we get into, here we go. So if we get into temperate forest is a little bit less warm, less moist, right? So we have a lower rainfall, I believe, right? So it's 2,000 millimeters. Yeah, millimeters, right? Millimeters? It seems like it would be milliliters because it's liquid, but okay. Well, anyway, it's half the rainfall. So it's less moist. That means we're going to get a disease frequency of 1.2 per year. So that's way better. And we still have the growing period of year round. So we still have that warmth. All right, so the last thing that I like to look at when I'm selecting a location is stone. I do like digging into mountains and things, and I'd like to have certain stone types. Stones are different. They're not all the same. You know what? This is I think this might be a good spot. The stone types that I look for are marble and granite. Granite is the strongest. So that's the strongest stone type there is. So when people are like beating against your stone walls, they all have hit points. You want as many hit points on there as possible so they don't get through. The other thing is that marble gives you a bonus to looks. So if you make a room out of marble walls, it'll look nicer than if it's just a wood wall or just any other kind of stone. So those are the two things that I like to have in here. We're a little close to pollution, which isn't super good, but we're not in bad shape. We're also next to a road in case we want to move somewhere. Yeah, I think ultimately this is going to be our spot, and I like to have a little bit of mountain in there. So I'm going to hit next, and we're going to go to ideology. All right, so ideology is the religion, right? Do we want to have like a fluid religion? Do we want to turn it off entirely? So this is all up to us. I'm going to do a fluid one. We're going to hit next. I'm going to start it with ideological. You can start it as like the origin can be anything. You can have whatever kind of religion you kind of want. I'm going to go with collectivist. It's the stuff that I kind of like. We're going to randomize some stuff until it looks cool. Call it the commune. Yeah, that works. Let's call it the commune. You can also change the audio. You can change the color. You can change the all kinds of different things about it. Here, I'll change the color. Let's see, what would the commune color be? Maybe like a blue or something. Yeah, that's probably good. All right, so just kind of remember your color. And then down here, these are the precepts. I like to make sure child labor, let's say disapproved on that child labor, medical or social. So execution, respected if guilty, slavery, disapproved, probably good. You can see what people wear, whether you use organ uses or not. Is cannibalism horrible? I guess. Yeah, I like to speed up research too, because research is pretty important. Let's see what else. Nutrient paste, diversity of thought neutral. Yeah, okay. So this is fine. Nothing wrong with this. And then we have our roles: the people, leader, moral guide. These are the rituals. You can basically just change them to make them like anything. Like, so if I wanted to call this the Undivided Festival or the Jubilee of Ethics, it'll let you basically call it whatever. There you go, collective fair. This is all the buildings you build for your religion. These are the things, the relics. Solidarity knife. It's pretty good. Yeah, that's pretty funny. This is the knife of solidarity. So yes, pulsar of family, psychic animal pulsar of family. So the relics are just items that you normally have that are like elevated in your religion. It's pretty funny. Preferred apparel. I'm gonna take this off because I don't want there to be a preferred apparel. And you can have different appearances and stuff, hair, tattoos, and things like that. All right, so ours is called the commune. All right, so this is now, oh man, there's so much here. The game hasn't even started yet. This is why this game is so good, man. There's so much to it. All right, so here are the people that are on your ship. You can pick 3 of them, right? So I can take Giggles the mental patient and move him up to Katie the scientist, and I can basically pick the 3 that I want. Prepare carefully button down here is part of the mod. I'm not going to use that because I want you guys to get a sort of vanilla, an idea of how the vanilla game works. But what we can do is we can look at some of the stuff that they have, some of the traits, and then some of the skills, and then what they're incapable of, and then their relations, and kind of make a judgment about like, all right, should we take this person? For example, this guy is a psychopath, which sometimes actually is okay. It's actually not super bad, but the problem is that he's also incapable of violence, which I'm not a big fan of. However, his cooking and his construction are insane. So maybe, we might, he's jealous too, which isn't good. All right, we'll consider him. So now we have to just start so this is a pyromaniac who's incapable of firefighting. Get out of here. Great skills, but we're not interested in a pyro. Here you go. Here's our first relatively normal person. Kind traits, good. Appreciate that. Intellectual 8, mining 4, shooting 5. That's good. All right, so not bad. Crafting 4, and a passion for intellectual. So I think Katie's at the top of the list right now. I think Katie. Well, let's look at Giggles. Giggles the mental patient. Not capable of cooking, mining, or social, or firefighting. Not great. Them skills though, however, plants, crafting, medical, all pretty good. And she's an optimist, which is nice too. Which makes sense. Her name is Giggles. So, I don't know. Not great. Incapable of dumb labor. I can't have somebody that in the beginning that isn't able to do dumb labor. You need to have simple labor be able to be done by people. This person's 56 and has a artery blockage in their heart. That they'll randomly get heart attacks, and they're psychically hypersensitive. So that's not going to work. More incapable of dumb labor, not great. Oh, more pyromaniacs. Come on, guys. What am I working with here? You gonna tell me Giggles, the mental patient, is gonna be better than better than most of these people? She's incapable of fire regularly. At least she's not gonna set things on fire. All right, Katie. We're gonna go Katie. We're gonna go John, but we need somebody who can like really straight murder some people. I mean, Giggles has a 3 in melee, which isn't great. She's got a 5 in shooting. Ooh, this one's gonna be a tough one. All right, we're gonna have to keep away from people. We're gonna really have to like not get attacked, which is gonna be tough. All right, I think these are my 3. I think this is what we're gonna roll with. All right, let's give it a shot. Yeah, so this is this will be interesting. This will be interesting. We'll see how this goes. All right, so you start often, either you start standing there or you start like you came off the ship, and all of this stuff, as you can see on the ground, is X'd out. So what I'm doing is I'm just making it available for people to move. All right, so all of this stuff, here you go, here's more stuff. If it's X'd out like that, then it's not going to be, it's going to be ignored by the people. I'm not entirely sure why they started. Oh, did we start with bugs? Oh no. Ooh, that's not gonna be good. All right, we gotta get real far away from them bugs, y'all. All right, where's gonna be a good place? You know, that's just man, this doesn't look too bad at all. I'm gonna send somebody up here real quick, and I just want to see what's in there. See if this is any good. This ruin over here might be. Okay, all right. You know what? I'm gonna maybe set up in here. It's like a half built. I don't mind that. All right, so I'm gonna set up a stockpile zone. I'm gonna go to the storage settings. I'm gonna just hit allow all. So we're just gonna make a big pile of all the stuff that fell off the ship. We are not gonna go after these meals, which is gonna cause a problem. But, oh man, I don't know. Maybe we'll set up some traps at the end of this thing, and we'll see if we can trap some of them bugs. But for right now, I think we're gonna just have them do that. So the first thing is, well, not the first thing, but part of the beginning is going into the work and checking every box, even if they're bad at it, because you've only got 3 people right now, and anything that you need to get done needs to get done. So if we got to research, if we got to move stuff, everybody's working right now. Later on, you can tailor that towards whatever you want. But that's part of the setup. The other setup is I want to make sure everybody is on attack and not flee. John can attack, that was part of his thing. But everybody else needs to attack. And then we need to equip some of these guys with some of this stuff. So she was good at shooting, so I'm gonna give her the revolver. The revolver's a little bit faster. And then Giggles was good at stabbing, right? Melee. So Giggle, oh, John picked up the knife. I'm also gonna run it a little faster, I think. Let's get Giggles on that knife. All right, now we have weapons. And we also need weapons not just for defending ourselves when the bugs come up, or if any of the, you know, if any of the bad guys come in, but also for hunting and stuff, which we're gonna definitely need to do. We're gonna also need to expand this zone, so it looks like we have quite a bit of stuff here. All right, so we're basically taking stock of all the stuff we have. We have to get away from these bugs because those guys are brutal. All right, and then the other thing we want to do is a little quirk about the game is these walls and stuff are not going to be owned by us. So I'm just going to make sure I hit ownership on all of these. Which is a little tedious. And I'm not sure if there's a quicker way to do this. That one. Got that right, yeah. All right, good. So they'll start repairing the walls. So we'll start to get a little bit better wall condition. I am going to take down some of these. Like I think in here. We can sort of cut some of those. And then we can actually start making, we should be able to start making our own walls as well in a little bit, but I'm going to take these granite walls down. Maybe deconstruct this floor, give us some building materials without having to just rebuild everything ourselves immediately. So. We're also going to need, we do have some wood. We're going to need some beds. People are going to need to sleep. So that should be good for like a little bunk. And then if you look at the top area here in the back of the icon, you see like how it's sort of half filled. That's their mood. It represents their mood. And you can look at that in the needs section. If their mood ever gets too low, bad stuff really starts to happen. So you want to make sure that you keep these guys happy. Otherwise, they start to death spiral. And it's not good. They stop doing work, and then because work gets stopped, then they get even less happy, and then etc. etc. So it's a bad time. Part of that's going to be to bury this corpse here, so that they're not just looking at dead people all day. Oh, they gave us a donkey. That's pretty cool. Let's put the donkey somewhere. Let's give him like a little sleeping spot. All right, so now that's kind of our beginning for Rimworld. Let's talk about why Rimworld kind of works and the design of the game. The first thing is that Tynan, if the guy who made this, does have a book out on game design. Definitely worth checking out. I might get a couple copies for the classroom. But yeah, it's phenomenal. You know, he talks about, you know, moving values from you know, one thing to another as part of like you know, gameplay and things like that. It's really good. Rimworld really kind of does that. It really kind of goes from, you're going from, you know, everything's a mess to everything's organized. You're going from everything's unsafe to everything's safe, right? You are unable to, your needs aren't met to meeting your needs. So you're really, that's the work that you're kind of doing during the game. And Rimworld does that really well. And like I said, the AI will throw a bunch of stuff at you. So we haven't gotten anything yet because we kind of just landed. Oh, is that more food? That's good. We're gonna need that. But it'll look at what you're doing and it'll say, oh, you didn't really plant any crops, or you're real low on food. All right, it's like, oh, everybody now has stomach worms or something like that. So it's like you're throwing up all your food, but you're also twice as hungry, so you're gonna blow through all of your stock. Like there's different ways to attack you that aren't just sending enemies or setting everything on fire or explosions. It really attacks you with a lot of different things. Your guys are sad because their rooms aren't cool. It sends like a psychic pulse out that makes people even sadder to kind of push that even further out. So it'll really get you with some things. So again, it really hasn't done anything yet to us, but part of the design with that AI really is impressive. Obviously the graphics aren't anything to write home about. The graphics aren't super good. But I think the look, I don't know, it grows on you. I think. The other thing is that he really kind of reduced a lot of complexity in the beginning. When this game first came out, there was no water. Water wasn't a thing, and he said he was never going to add it. But I think a lot of people were like, it's not really as realistic if you don't add like oceans and rivers and like water and stuff. But you also may notice that it's very flat, and there's not like you don't have a different level. Like, so I can't really dig into anything. There's no like going down 1 or 2 levels or going up 1 or 2 levels. There's no putting my guy on top of a building, or there's no hills or anything like that. So the design, the flat kind of design and the art design kind of feels like it came out of, a lot of it came out of, keeping the game simple to be able to focus on the actual mechanics of the game. Right? Which is kind of what I tell you guys a lot of times. I have to often talk to you guys about, you guys have crazy ideas, or not crazy ideas, but you guys have big ideas that you want to do a lot of stuff. And it's like, cool, that is good, but rein it in a little bit, because you don't know how much it's going to take just to get the simple stuff done. I wonder what this black is. This is ancient concrete. I don't think we can make concrete just yet. I'm gonna get rid of these too, these fences. I don't like those. There've been a few games that have tried to do the Rimworld formula. There was a 3-dimensional game called Going Medieval that added being able to dig into stuff, being able to put stuff on top of stuff. Like, it added that third, like it's used its 3D really well to kind of add that stuff. But a lot of the underlying stuff was all just Rimworld mechanics. And I thought that was interesting. I didn't think it was particularly good. But it was an interesting take. think we're gonna get rid of that because we don't really need a wall between the two sections because this is all gonna be one thing. And maybe get rid of that one too. So I'm gonna check their needs, see what we're going. Oh, 8 without table. Oh, they hate eating without tables. So I'm gonna have to make a quick wooden table setup here. Surprisingly, the table's easy to do. It's the chairs that take more skill, which is interesting. I mean, I guess that makes sense. A chair might be more complicated. It has to hold weight a little bit better, probably. Yeah, I don't see any furniture on the board. Sometimes these ruins have furniture in them. See, there's a sarcophagus. You might be able to find a table laying around somewhere. So we are definitely going to run out of food pretty soon. But we got a lot of stuff to get done. And I'm trying to get them to garden here. How much limestone do we have? Not much. That's 15 on the... One of the other things that is it's kind of simplified in this, or abstracted out a little bit, is the lighting isn't super complicated. They kind of oh, not that. I wanted to shrink it. They don't really care too much about lighting. Lighting has really, it's just about work speed. So if your place is well lit, you'll work a little bit faster, but otherwise it doesn't have any kind of like mood based effect or anything. 1, 2, 3. And then I think that granite, that should do that. Your items don't like being outside. They'll start to deteriorate over time. You can look at the deterioration, how many hit points they have here and what's happening. So this is unroofed and it's outdoors, so it's deteriorating at 2 per day. So your food and your medicine, you don't want deteriorating. So we're putting them inside, and then we're gonna give it a roof, and that's gonna help a little bit with that. So we've turned this ruins into a pretty decent area right now. But what I have to do is I have to get these guys on gardening, because otherwise that food's not going to start growing. So I'm going to go to manual priorities. I'm going to go to grow, and I'm going to tell John that growing is a little bit more important than everything else. So there you go. Now he starts to prepare the fields up there. And you can do that with a lot of stuff. There might be points where they get injured, and what'll happen is if they're able to walk around. They'll just start walking around and like bleeding all over the place. Like, you know, they'll have a gunshot wound or something. Their guts will be hanging out, but as long as they can walk around, they'll just be like, all right, I guess I'm gonna get back to work. And then if you don't put down like patient or you know, bed rest as a priority, yeah, they'll just go back to doing whatever they want. Like they'll just go back to like cooking food, like you know intestines all hanging out and stuff like that. So it's that priority thing is pretty important. It looks like there's some visitors. If they have a question mark on here, you can trade with them. Because Giggles is up. Oh, Giggles will never do social. All right, well. You can do it as long as you have social, which Giggles does not have. If they're around in the morning, we'll see what they do. Also, I tend to run this at a really fast speed, just because I kind of know what I'm doing at this point. Looks like they're not going to be around, I don't think. Yeah, they left. Once they come in to eat, that's the sign of them kind of getting ready to take off. What are these, slates? Oh, okay. Oh no, breakup. John and Katie are no longer in a relationship. Well, I didn't know they were in one to begin with. Well, that's not going to be good for mood. See, so this is what I'm talking about when it comes to the AI events. Right? This is the kind of stuff, like giving all those details and all those things that we had at the beginning that were like, you know, skills and background and all that kind of stuff that we had, the 30 different things. Not only is that cool for like creating a character and kind of getting an idea of the story and all. Oh, there's a mad squirrel. But it's also a hook for, oh, let me get this squirrel. John can't do combat. John, if you get killed by a squirrel, dude, this is terrible for you. There we go. All right. So yeah, so all of those are hooks that you can also use to kind of give the player problems. That's why they exist, not just to be cool. They serve multiple purposes. When you stack things like that, where it's like you're giving them multiple things to work with, like that, you know, that really helps with the design, like as far as the design aspect goes. Put a butcher table in here. Oh man, this fuel, but we're gonna have to move one of these doors. I don't know, what do you think? I guess maybe there. All right, any creature that we come across, we're gonna butcher. So that's squirrel. We're turning that thing into squirrel meat. Right up. All right, so the reason that I don't make a lot of meals in the beginning, and I set this to 6, is because the meals will deteriorate over time. They'll only last for a few days. So if you look, unrefrigerated, spoils in 4 days, right? Not great. These survival meals, these will be for all time. They won't go bad. Eventually you learn how to make those. But right now we don't have that option. So we can only make normal meals, but those normal meals only last for 4 days. So we can also start to create refrigeration, which is gonna be good. But we're gonna have to get into that probably a little later. All right, so people are relatively happy. Katie's not super happy. Let's see what her deal is. Oh yeah, broken up with by John. Doesn't like the room, sure. Is hungry. Well, not yet. Slept in the cold. We gotta look at the temperature. Oh, it looks like it's in its 40s. So we picked a place where the temperature was 60 to 80 for a long time, but not forever. There is sort of a colder period, and it looks like we're in that right now. So I mean, I have a way of dealing with that, but it's not super great. Well, we can just put a big campfire right here. Also, I think I can get rid of that second door. Do that. Yep, and we'll hold this open. And what are we using? Let's use limestone again. I kind of just use a mix of stones of whatever's available until we can start producing some of our own. I am going to get a little workshop in a second. Yeah, see, so now it's 82 in here. See, this is the problem. Well, 78. It's still holding steady at 78. Oh, what do we want to name it? That's a good question. All of these names are terrible. This is the worst name generator, honestly, that I think any game has ever had. How do we just call it? How about we call our faction the Concord? And our settlement, the Tooth District. You see what I'm saying? Like, these are so dumb. Sheriff's City. There you go, Rhine. That's fine. You never see any of that information again, by the way. Like, unless you're really looking for it, it has no bearing on anything. It's good that it's there. It's just not, it just doesn't really matter that much. All right, so now my guys are kind of idle, kind of just chilling. All right, so we want to give them some work. I'm going to make a little section where we can start building stuff. 40, and then we have 30 in the granite section. And then 22 in limestone. Ooh, it's gonna be tough. All right, and then here's what allows us to make stone. Oh. Well, it's not going to be outdoors for long. Maybe. Now you might ask, why am I not building with wood? I could make these walls out of wood, right? Like that's like there's plenty of trees around, and I could definitely do that. But what happens is, man, is fire is crazy. and if a guy comes by, like if you get attacked, getting attacked is one thing. Getting attacked and then having your whole base set on fire by a guy is even worse. So upgrading to stone as fast as possible is kind of the move. Now that may not be an option, depending on where you start. And we do need some wood for things. But yeah, man, I try to get it to stone as soon as possible. The other thing we're going to need to do is give these guys each their own rooms. So once we start getting stone, it looks like we have a little bit of marble around. We might be able to even do a room in marble, which isn't too bad. I don't know what these guys are. We're visitors, huh? All right, we're gonna just run stone blocks. So just make any stone blocks, whatever's closest, just get them. Just get them and start making them. Actually, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna move this radius in a bit so that my guy doesn't go to East Jabip to get all the stones. If they go too far away from your base, you're really starting to get threat. It's a threat because animals can go crazy, you can get attacked, like there's a whole bunch of stuff. The farther away from you are from your base initially is it's bad. Oh, they left us a gift. A mastodon wool bowler hat. All right, that's cool. You can make clothes out of so many things. There's a ton of animals. Like this thing right here is massive. It's a mega sloth. You can take the fur off of that and make different clothes. There's some deer up there. So we're gonna have to start hunting too. I only have one person with a ranged weapon, and that's Katie. She's got a revolver, so it's not an ideal hunting weapon, but go get him, Katie. We need meat. Oh, okay, here's our first attack. We're being raided by a person from the Poison Partners. All right, so now see how Katie is away from the base? Not good. So I'm gonna draft her and have her run the heck back. Luckily John's gotta get back because he's in trouble. In fact, I'm gonna get everybody and bring them inside. And I'm gonna lock the doors. So y'all can wander around and do stuff, but we're gonna lock the doors here to make sure this Theo guy doesn't come in and cause any problems. Oh, there's some metal that we could use. Oh, he's passing us. Oh, that's good. Oh, he's passing us. He's going into the bug den. Oh no, that was the wrong area, bro. So this is a good example of why I said that bug den is a problem. We need to get away from it. You remember that like 20 minutes ago where I was like, hey man, we really got to get away from those bugs. Well, that's a good reason why. I don't know if this guy had a death wish or what, but he just ran right for them bugs. That is hilarious. Okay. All right. Well, we kind of made out there. That's good. I told you we had to avoid combat because we don't have, our guys are not ready for fighting people. I mean, I only have two people that can fight people anyway. All right, so I'm going to wrap this up in a few minutes. Let me think about what I want to convey about Rimworld again. Like I said, I enjoy it because it is a lot of there's a huge variety of things you have to worry about, and I like spinning all those plates at the same time. Kind of try to organize things, try to figure things out, solutions out for different things. But like I said, you know, it's not just the one. It's not just the sort of the things that are the mechanics that they involve sort of do multiple duties by being available for, you know, for character creation and for also a way of coming at somebody. So, you know, I think it's very smartly made. I think it's lasted a long time. Like I said, it's, you know, 5 DLCs at this point. You know, I don't know if there's going to be a Rimworld 2 ever made. I seriously doubt it. Like I said, there's 100 different mods, so if it ever gets boring for you, there's so many different things you can add. You can add different animals. You can add different mechanics. Like there's mechanics where people like set up a shop and you can like sell things. You know, there's a whole oil system. There's a whole like nuclear system. There's a whole magic system. There's that they added it in the mod sections. You know, just a ton of different things. So it really is an incredible game with a lot of support. It's got a great community. It's got, you know, a bunch of variety, like a huge amount of variety to it. And yeah, and I really enjoy it. It's one of the reasons I have almost 5,000 hours in it. I'm about 30 hours away from hitting 5,000, so it's pretty good. I don't know what today added another hour on the on the list. So I hope this helps as an idea of why Rimworld's good. I hope this helps as a good starter if you ever get to play it and want to learn what all this stuff is, because it really is very complicated. But yeah, that's Rimworld. Anybody have any questions or comments? All right, if you guys have any questions, you can always feel free to email me. Again, I'm going to put this in the classroom. All right, tomorrow will be a different game. I think I'm going to do I should not include tomorrow, or possibly Darkest Dungeon. One of those, definitely. But all right, see you guys. Thanks for coming.